Welcome to No Question About That. We're talking about Manchester United's 17th defeat of the Premier League season. Daniel, how's it
Hello,
going?
I'm good. I was. It was my wife's birthday this weekend, so I was in the discotheque last evening. So I'm feeling 46, I
Yeah,
guess.
nice.
Actually, I'm mainly just tired. Generally recover much better, which is I think is not meant to work like this. I recover much better older than I did when I was younger, but I think that is a factor of quantities.
Yeah, you can't drink as much anymore either. So, all right, we've got to talk about United and not your hangover. Although, to be
I
honest,
don't have a hangover.
your hangover is a much better
Look how
topic.
look at my fresh face. Come on.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Totally. I don't know what to make of this. You can kind of understand the focus is on the Europa League and everyone's dropped a level as a result. I don't know how they can turn it on for a one-off game against a Premier League side in 10 days' time, but they're going to have to. And
Tottenham are
then,
getting beat as well, in fairness.
well, that's true, yeah. Are we 16th or 17th? Doesn't really. At one point we were 17th, but
I
the
think,
Spurs lose.
yeah, they lost to Palace. We're above them.
Yeah,
It's not so much turning it on and off exactly. That I think that both teams will have had quite a significant physical and emotional dump after the weekend. To then get themselves excited for a meaningless game, you can sort of understand. I'll tell you what, though. A couple of my mates were in the director's box. Three of my mates were in the director's box for this game. I don't know why or how. I haven't yet discerned why or how. But I've seen the photos of them with Amorim afterwards, and he looks fucking ready to kill.
oh, he should do. Well, he had plasters on his knuckles the other night at half time when he's punched the wall. I mean, he smashed the TV already. I mean, that's all fine, right? But he came out after the game today and he said we're embarrassed. We're losing our status as a big club, and it's like all kind of stuff we kind of know and feel, and as fans we can say. As the manager, I don't know if I like that kind of defeatism. I can totally understand why, because he's got a 30% win rate as the United manager. I mean, it's just dreadful and a disaster. And we all like him, and he talks well. And I think we've talked on the last pod, maybe, or the pod before that, about feeling like something is happening here. We can kind of see where the team is going, we think. But, I mean, the credibility is getting shredded every week, isn't it? It's just, I mean, he has to, obviously, he has to
Yeah.
win this Europa final. Otherwise, his bank of credit is going to be negative starting
Well,
next
that's it, isn't
season.
it? If he wins the Europa, then we're in the Champions League, got some money to spend, and he'll get an opportunity. The thing, we would have obviously expected it to be better than this, but at the same time, it's not that difficult to see why it isn't because the players aren't good enough, right?
No, they're not, but surely they're better than West Ham players. Surely, and like this is a one-off game, right? So I don't want to draw some giant conclusion from a game in which there were like 6 or 7 changes, and it's coming off a big game in midweek and all the kind of emotional exhaustion that is part of that, right? So sure, today's game, but you look down the squad, it's definitely not the 17th best squad or worst squad in the Premier League, and it's just like, how many players are going to be accountable? How many can he strip out of this squad? How many does he need to rip out of this squad for them to go from 17th to what's acceptable next season? Top 5 or 6? I mean, like, how long can this last with him? And I guess my fear is, I'm not articulating it brilliantly, is that like whatever happens next season, there's almost no momentum. Maybe there's a high from winning the Europa League. Maybe there's none at all. His bank of credit's in the toilet. The players that remain, do they believe in him or not? Do the owners believe in him or not? Are we seeing a dead man walking? He's going to be gone by November if it doesn't go well next season. It's just like, talk about lack of momentum at the most important time. Anyway.
They're going to have to buy players for him in the summer, which means that they're going to have to try and not sack him by November.
Yeah, exactly. They have to spend whatever money, like 100% of the money that's available that can be spent in the summer for him, and then the players he wants, and that may include dumping some players that he doesn't want, but we might like at the club, and important ones. Garnacho started most of the games under Amorim. He's been improving, but he's the most saleable asset. The other one is Kobe Mainu. I think he's going to sign that contract, but he wasn't very good today in the number 10 role. I'm not sure it suits him. It's like there's so many questions, but like the point is we might have to make some really painful sacrifices to get what Amorim wants. And if it doesn't work out, doubling down on the failure as we have with every other manager.
I don't think Mainu's going to leave this summer. That seems extremely unlikely.
It seems unlikely.
Garnacho, I think they might be forced to sell if they don't make the Champions League. If they do, then there's no need to sell him, I wouldn't have thought. So if it turns out that Garnacho is the casualty, I don't want to sell him, but I could cope if we did.
I mean, we can cope if any player goes. It's United. You just move on. Like the question doing that is the player that's brought in better? Is it an upgrade? Do we move forward?
Right. And I think you could find a better player than Garnacho for whatever money you're going to get for him, but hopefully you won't have to sell him. I mean, I think what was interesting, what I was thinking about the game in midweek, which basically changes when he makes the substitutions, when he brings on Shaw and Ahmad. Because suddenly I was thinking, it's almost the Mounts as well, and then he brings on Mainu, and suddenly it's like, okay, what you've really made this happen. Partly, I guess, probably Bilbao tired, and United were able to dominate physically. But also, all of a sudden, you've got lots of players on the pitch who are good fucking footballers. Not saying they're the right fucking footballers, but they can all play football, as in that they can all handle the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And before, I don't think the balance was right before that. I mean, Ugarte's shit, right? And another fucking dreadful performance from him today. He's got all the worst carelessnesses of Fred without the kind of terrier-like quality that he's meant to have. But he doesn't have the energy. He doesn't bring the energy that Fred did. But he does give the ball away with the same alarming level of ludicrous carelessness and stupidity.
Yeah, and the thing we like about him, the only
I don't know. I don't like anything about him.
You don't like anything about him. Okay, no. Well, if you were to say like his best qualities are all the defensive actions, like the number of tackles, interceptions, blocks, blah blah blah. Right, his numbers look good, but then he's weak as fuck on the goal today. And that was just so, like, if that's your best thing and you're just like flopping over in that position, that was pretty unacceptable.
But to finish the point about that game, I feel like the way that we're trying to go about playing this system with the players that we have needs a bit of a rethink. And you can't have, like, a midfielder, Casemiro and Ugarte just doesn't give you enough quality on the ball to be able to move the ball through its thirds. And so
very clearly on Thursday, yeah.
As I was thinking about what team would I pick for the final, and I don't think this is the team that he would pick, but I was kind of thinking, well, if you're back three, you want pace on both sides, so it's going to be Maguire in the middle, presumably, whether this fit or not. Then on one side, assuming he's injured, his fit will be Yoro. I was quite surprised that he was starting today, actually. I thought, I mean, it's not me being wise after the event. When I saw the team, I thought I would have taken him out for this one because he put in a massive effort the other night. But so let's assume It didn't look like the kind of thing that's going to keep him out for 2 weeks, but who knows? So if you have I'll go Yoro on one side and then Shaw on the other, because then I want pace.
Yeah.
I don't think we've got... Because the first goal that West Ham scored today tells you why you can't really say Ahmad a wing back.
Yeah, he was very weak. In fact, actually, he contributed with both goals. And both end up in his position. Yeah.
So I think I would feel obliged to go with defend like Dorgu and Mazraoui as the wing backs and just try and be strong in those areas. And then in the middle, that gives you a bit more scope. So Casemiro is going to play and Bruno's going to play. Then who are the other two? And I guess I would go for Mainu and Ahmad. Because I think with those players, we've got the best chance of controlling the game. How are you going to control the game with Casemiro and Ugarte? You're not.
It's almost impossible. Yeah, I mean, the one thing about Bruno today, he played very deep, and Mount and Mainu played as the 10. That's fine. There's been some excellent games from Bruno at 8, where he's actually reined in his sort of more Hollywood ball instincts. What I don't like there is him taking the ball off the centre backs, like 5 yards outside his own area. What is the value in that, right? And it didn't even help United really play through the thirds today. Although, look, today it created a lot of chances again. There's 4 big chances in there. There's the 2 for Rasmus, like the left-footed one where it was saved, and the right-footed one where it was saved. Neither had much conviction. There's the Ahmad shot as well. I forget the other one. 20 shots, 2.3 XG. You know, you can go, oh, well, that looks all right. And yet, we all know with our eyes that it was absolutely dreadful, and the players had kind of turned off, like including all the mistakes we've just mentioned. And so it's hard to forgive much of that.
So, yeah, well, I think that if you've got a midfield of Casemiro, obviously will stay deeper. Then you could have Bruno and Mainu, depending on the game state, next to him. And it's just they're 2 players that can take the ball in different phases and actually help you create. And just, yeah, playing Ugarte in there, it's just, I mean, he doesn't seem to like him very much, does he? I mean, he tends to get brought off quite a lot. And it's just, when you think about the fact, because we know the team we're playing, so what are we going to try and do to beat Tottenham?
Well, it's pacing behind. Although Spurs have changed a little bit. He's actually reined in some of his wilder instincts, I think, Ange has. And they're trying to play with a bit more, less vertical and a bit more control, I would say. But they still play very, very high. So it's players you can run in behind.
Right. But also, you want to try and control that game. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to control that game without players that can keep the ball. Mm-hmm. And Ugarte and Casemiro just doesn't give you that base. Mm-hmm. So, but then you look at today, and Wan-Bissaka got 2 assists. I just fucking imagine that.
Yeah, I know. Turned into Pete Cafu, didn't he? Had very good ball for the second goal. Like, just the kind of football intelligence that he never showed at Old Trafford. Ruben Amorim said, I think he repeated it after today's game, actually. He said, it doesn't matter what you did at United. It doesn't matter what you do now. It matters what you did at United. Right? I.e., he had his chance and he blew it. Wan-Bissaka, and he wasn't good enough. Unfortunately, that's true of about, 12 or 15 players in this squad, like, who should be ex-Manchester United players very shortly, and sadly won't. The possible injury to Yoro, talking about soon-to-be ex-Manchester United players, means that the spectre of Victor Lindelof playing in the final is quite high. I would hope Shaw is fit enough that we don't have to see that, although Ruben Amorim has played Victor Lindelof way more often than I'd be comfortable with. He wouldn't, surely. He wouldn't. He brought him on today, but he wouldn't for the final. It's
just, in those wide centre-back roles, he just doesn't have any pace.
None?
I mean, never did. And he's weak physically. It feels unlikely.
Well, he's weak physically and mentally, has no pace, can't really defend. Hair. Good hair, yeah. 8 seasons, man. It's like, and there's so many players you could point to and go, hey, that's symptomatic of wilderness years United. 8 seasons, 280 odd games.
On the plus side, did anyone see Arteta's interview after they lost to Paris? Oh my goodness, he was so.
It was when he was going on. We were the best team in the competition.
If Hazel Irvine had been interviewing him, we'd have 100% had tears. He was one question away about a dead parent or pet from just greeting it all out. It was really, really heartwarming, a proper treat. And then you got one from Rice afterwards, who has that "I'm the guy that always fronts up" quality about him.
Yeah.
I mean, what he has that Maguire doesn't have, I guess, is he's often also fronted up on the pitch. But he was also just, he might cry. They genuinely thought they were gonna win this tie.
Yeah, they weren't even close. Yeah.
No, and it's just, okay, keeper made some saves over both lanes. But Lance, you went behind after about 3 fucking minutes of the home game, and it took you until 165 minutes roughly to score a goal when time's finished. Fuck off. This was not a tight encounter.
It wasn't, and like retrospectively, they beat a Real Madrid side that can't defend with a couple of worldy goals. So,
that is a little harsh. They beat them in both legs, and even though the free kicks were two completely out of the ordinary occasions, the goals were coming. They deserved to win that game, and they won that game for the reasons anyone who's watched Real Madrid thought that they might. They've got amazingly talented players who hang about waiting for something to happen, because Ancelotti is the biggest spoofer in the history of fucking football management.
Soon to be Brazil manager Ancelotti.
Success with other people's teams in the early part of his career, and just like keeping people nice, which I'm not saying it's an important quality, but like so at Chelsea, for example, he has Mourinho. He has what's left of Mourinho's team. They know how to win, so he just keeps everyone happy. And with about the help of a poor season from Fergie, wins a double. Then he goes, and then at Madrid, he has Modric, Casemiro, and Kroos. And he has some very, very serious players, and they managed to not really do anything in the league, because winning the league most of the time, because winning the league requires a bit more than good players. But you watch the season, and I mean, Bellingham's a really good example of it. That first time you watch Bellingham play, I mean, me anyway, I thought this guy could be like modern day Brian Robson. He's someone you take the ball in all phases. He can take the ball off the defence. He's press resistant. He can carry it. He can pass it. He can score. But then once he did start scoring, they just kind of leave him upfield, hoping that the ball will come to him. And he's not the best number 10 in the world, or even close to it. But
no, and they've kind of shifted him as well now. So.
Should be the best number 8. And but it's quite easy to see how they get better, because they're going to appoint Xabi Alonso, who's going to give them the system, and he'll then give them the format, which then enables them to express their talent. But without that, they're just, they sit around and hope that someone good does something good. And even when they're 2-0 up against Barca today, you still kind of felt that Barca had been the scorer at least twice, because they're just so good going forward.
Here's a thought experiment for you, since we went on to this via Arsenal. United win the Europa League. Arsenal win nothing. 5 years without a trophy. Have we had a better season than them? It's amazing. Wilderness years to United, when we're absolutely dreadful, we just keep racking up trophies.
Well, that's it, because there's a part of that, I think, is a cultural thing. That, I mean, after the semi, you've got Scholes going about how I think United will beat Spurs because they're like historically United win stuff and Tottenham don't. Which on the face of it is just fucking bullshit, right? Like, what has United winning in 1968 or
got anything to do with anything?
Anything to do? But there is a cultural thing that United expect to win trophies. The players know they're playing for United. They're expected to win trophies, and there's pressure. There's pressure to win trophies, and even through this dreadful period, they've kept winning trophies. And Spurs never win jack shit. Yeah. Everyone knows that Spurs never win jack shit. So obviously, that's in a way inspirational for Tottenham, that they could be the guys. But also, there is a culture that Spurs have a culture of failure.
Arsenal fans will have to support United in that final.
I was talking to an Arsenal supporting friend about this in synagogue yesterday, and he was like, he obviously does want United to beat Tottenham, and like, if they're going to do it, can they at least like smash them? But at the same time, he's like, if United get into the Champions League, there's now a possibility they won't waste that, whereas Tottenham definitely will.
Yeah.
So fucking weird going to Shaw yesterday, and it's just full of fucking Tottenham fans talking about going to a European final. It's just, this isn't what I signed up for with my Judaism.
That's what happens when you live in North London as well, Daniel. So in fact, you're in the Spurs neck of the woods where you are. You're not in between, I guess.
I would say probably, closer to Arsenal and Tottenham, where I live. I would say it's funny, like, obviously Tottenham have the reputation as being a Jewish club, and that partly that's just because they're run by Irving Scholar. Then they were bought by Anne Sugar, David Pleat, like various Jewish people involved. But when I was at school in Camden in the 90s, basically, I was at secondary school 1990 to 1997. Tottenham were far and away. You had seen the best supported club in my school. But I would say over the last decade or two, they've been usurped by Arsenal. So I would say that, that there are probably just as many Jewish Arsenal fans now, I would imagine. But I think, yeah, Tottenham obviously are just Tottenham. And that is why losing to them would be so humiliating.
West Ham fans were singing about Tottenham today at Old Trafford. So I think the song was, "If you beat Spurs, maybe you're not cunts," or something to that. I couldn't quite pick it up. It was something to that effect anyway. Yeah, tearing me. That's the first time West Ham have been United at Old Trafford in the league, at least. They did beat us in the League Cup once, didn't they? Since Carlos Tevez scored that goal in 2007.
That was a massive oversight, not making sure to relegate them. That pissed me off at the time. Still.
Well, I mean, and in retrospect, I mean, they got relegated after that, of course, but they paid Sheffield United a £20 million, I don't know, bribe, compensation for the dodginess with Mascherano and Tevez, which should have been a much bigger penalty, really. I mean, I guess in today's terms, that would be well over 100 million.
What was quite weird at the time with that was I remember Warnock, United had a cup final coming up. They were fucking exhausted. They limped over the line in the league because they really only had sort of 14, 15 players that season. And what Fergie in the summer goes and buys a squad, buys Hargreaves, Anderson, and so that won't happen again. But they've got a cup final. They're playing West Ham. And I think they don't play Rooney, but Ronaldo plays. They play and they create more than enough chances to win several games and end up losing. And Neil Warnock starts bitching about how United should be fined for the team that they played with a cup final coming the following week.
Yeah.
Forgetting that when Sheffield United had come to Old Trafford that season, he plays a reserve team because he knows they're getting beat anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was a ridiculous, like one of those takes that seems to happen. Richard Keys today, talking of bad takes, is still going on about how UEFA should be looking at the prize of getting into the Champions League via the Europa League. I mean, it's been this way for a decade now. I don't remember there being
I don't get why this is a
furore
problem.
Why is it a problem? You get a reward, promotion and relegation, right? You get a reward.
To me, that makes sense. Saying that if you win the Conference League, you get into the Europa. What I would say about the Conference League is that, I can't remember if I said this last week, is that it's not right that Chelsea are in that. And I would say that if you've ever won a European trophy, you can't play in the Conference League. Because the whole point of it is to give teams that never win an opportunity to win. Chelsea were European champions not that long ago.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be in the Conference League,
I do think overall, and we're doing our best to not talk about the game that happened today, but I do think overall that it's a good tournament, the Conference League.
I agree. I'm not dissing tournament. I'm not dissing the tournament at all. It's just you don't want you don't want English teams winning it. That's not the point of this. Or at least
will you be supporting alleged wife beater Antony as he bends one into the top corner against Chelsea?
I thought Antony had been exonerated of that.
The allegation was withdrawn rather than exonerated, yeah. So
right, but to the extent, obviously, because in a sense, it's one of those situations that it's quite hard to be exonerated of that because
absolutely,
it's so hard to prove that even if it's proven in a court of law. No, I'm not saying you are being glib at all. I'm just saying that even if it's proven in the court, even if that allegation is disproved in a court of law, you still know that many more men get away with that kind of shit that are fraudulently accused of that kind of shit.
Oh, for sure. And the article in which the alleged victim gave it to the Brazilian press was incredibly detailed. Incredibly, like you can't read it and go, that was all okay then, wasn't it? Anyway, for financial reasons, it would be good if Antony did something good in that final. I mean, he's probably done enough to attract interest from around Europe. Anyway, a ridiculous goal he scored the other night as well. It's just like, where's that come from? Against Big Dave in goal.
But we know he can do it because it's with him. It was like it's a matter of regularity. In the first season, he got a lot of aggravation because the numbers weren't good. But in a dreadful team, he always wanted the ball. He would always take the ball, progress the ball, and he didn't. And if you remember, like the time on that season, we had Rashford's got Luke Shaw, and he's got some cunt like maybe Dallo, maybe Wan-Bissaka. Like he had no help whatsoever, and his first season wasn't the dreadful disgrace that some people thought it was. I didn't think, but then the pressure builds, the team gets worse. And he ends up being one of the many fall guys for it, which, he earned it. I don't have a problem with that. But I never thought this guy's a fucking donkey, he can't play football. I thought he's not good enough for United, or United is not the right place for him now, and I hope we sell him. But I'm not particularly surprised to play him with a Betis.
No, he seems to be in a good environment for him there, and a club that has been progressing in the second half of the season, right? So it's the chips have fallen the right way, and he's doing a good job. And United scouts' initial assessment of him as a £25 million player is going to come true this summer, and we'll move on. And given what is happening on the pitch every fucking week at United, there should be about 8 other players in the same situation. In fact, there probably will be, because the 3 out on loan will go, and then the 4 that are at contract will go. So that's 7 without even thinking about it. And there will surely be some others. And we've talked before about accountability, and I can't. Every week you have to think like this, like who's accountable? Like the Glazers walked away with 1.3 billion for selling part of an asset they've done their best to ruin. Ed Woodward was paid £4.5 million a year, plus he got stock to get shit faced on the job. And
when he should be in the stocks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thinking he's a director of football, and the best thing he can do is run his winery.
It's 20 years of that, isn't it? Just around now.
20 years of the Glazers, yeah. Yeah, May 2005, 20 years of this absolute crap. And then the players are staggering around like they're drunk on the pitch too. But there's no accountability there, right? They'll all walk away, whether they get sold or stay at United. They keep their contracts. I don't know. They play it's really reductive, but it looks like they just couldn't give a fuck because their contracts are secure. And
I think that's harsh. I'm not sitting there watching these guys don't care. Exactly.
Sitting there watching they aren't good enough.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're better than 17th place. Or 16th.
Yeah, they are. And if we'd okay, here's a thought experiment. If we'd have kept Rude playing 4-3-3, would we be 17th?
Probably not. No, and probably not if we'd kept Ten Hag either. I mean, you're swapping out short term. What we hope is short term pain for long term gain. It's just if the pain is long enough, then we won't get to that long term gain because Amorim just won't be in the job, right? Not that I'm advocating for that, but it just won't be if you win 30% of your games and lose half of them.
I mean, he did say it was going to be shit. He did say it.
He did say that.
No one really thought it would be shit like this.
No. Fucking vortex of swirling shite is what it is. Yeah, it's dreadful.
I mean, what I do think with him is that I feel like even if the system is suboptimal, if you give him good players, if they give him good players, it feels like he might be able to circumvent the system with man management and motivation. I think I still. Yeah, those 2 shuttlers in midfield. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how you find those players that will give you all the running power that you need, but will also give you the quality on the ball that you need. And that
we said last summer when we were talking about who we need to buy as a defensive player, we were like, we need a ball carrier, someone who can pass it and someone can destroy, and we still need all of those in midfield. Yeah. And we need players who won't panic when the ball's anywhere near them in defence and can play through the thirds, and we can actually build up.
But we've seen, if we have a back 3 of Yoro, Heaven, and Martinez, that is 3 players that can all play, and the 2 outside players have got loads of pace and power, and can also carry the ball and pass. So that's starting to look to me like something on which you can build. And then if you look at what we've got further forward, right, we've got Bruno, we know he can play. Then the wing backs are a bit of a problem, I would say, that I don't think we're going to sign. We would have wanted to sign Kenda because they think that he is a generational talent who's perfect for the role. But now, so it also makes sense, I think, that now that they can't get him, they don't buy for that position necessarily. And they try and make what they've got work and hope that Mantato is good enough. Or between him, Dorgu can play that side, if Diego Leon or Amas can play on the other side. So they've got workaround options for that position. do worry still that we're not getting enough creativity from wing backs with the players that we have. I mean, we know Amos is meant to be able to play. We've not really seen it yet. There's still
bits, yeah.
Not creatively. Like he takes the ball, he's confident in possession. He's still sort of playing quite safely, I think, when he's attacking.
Mm-hmm.
But we know Bruno can play. We know Ahmad can play. We know we need a centre forward, at least one. And then it becomes more about signing the right players. Can you sign the right midfield player? Can you sign the right centre forward? But presumably going to sign at least one more 10, maybe two. Can they get the right players? And we know that the other ones just aren't, the ones who are playing those roles at the moment are not good enough.
Yeah.
And it looks like Cunha's going to get done, which on the one hand feels like a really correct kind of signing. What's nagging at me a little bit with him is that in order to be one of the best teams around, that team that's trying to win the Premier League, trying to win Champions League, which is the idea, you need a few players who are among the best in the world. So if you look even at Liverpool, that were much more of a collective endeavour, really, like rather than individuals, they still had Alisson, Van Dijk and Salah, who were among the best players in their position in the world at the time. Who are United's going to be?
Yeah, there's one in the squad at the moment.
There's one in the squad, Bruno. We also we think that Euro,
maybe Ahmad and maybe Euro. Yeah,
right. So Ahmad, to me, I'm still a long way from saying that about him. I'm with Ahmad, like Euro. I'm someone I'm watching. I'm saying this guy's more than good enough to play for United. I know he's. Mm-hmm. I've seen more than enough to say this guy could be really special.
Yeah,
Ahmad, I'm saying I'm still on the line of, is this guy a really good squad player?
Mm-hmm.
Or is he someone who can play a key role in the team that wins things? And I mean, I thought that he played really well when he came on in midweek. I really changed the game. And what I love about Ahmad is he's a menace.
Yeah.
He can't relax against him. He's always looking, trying to make something happen. And that is an important characteristic and one we don't have very much of. But still, need to see. Like, it's not, when I say I'm not sure about him, it's not particularly a criticism of him. It's just, I haven't seen enough.
He would need to up his output as well. It's 10 goals and 8 assists in 40 games this season. So a goal involvement in just about half his games is all right, but not for a top 4, 3, 2, 1 side in the Premier League. And so that's the question for him is, can he take his career another step forward, or has he hit his ceiling? I mean, he has progressed, clearly, like from not getting a game at Rangers to being one of our best players is quite a lot of progression. And he needs to take another step forward.
We're even shitter than Rangers were under Gerrard.
Under Gerrard, he might go back there, so rumours have it this week. Yeah, I know, it's so much work, and it's really hard to analyse a game like this because of the wider context, and just we know so many of these players are leaving, and they know it as well. It's just the bank of credit, like, leaking. And I am worried for Amorim as a result. You have to get some results. That Europa League, Jesus, bloody hell. If we don't win that, it's going to be a tremendously difficult summer.
Oh, my goodness. Right. Oh, man.
You know, when Amorim came in, I think we were like 5 or 6 points off the top 5.
We thought we could push for that.
Yeah. And the difference between 5th and 17th is about £35 million in prize money. You know, just is. And and the difference between being in the Europa League and being in the Champions League is probably a guaranteed 60-something million. And we're going to go on tour we're actually going on tour after this dreadful season finishes. That's going to be fun to play a game in, I think, Hong Kong and one in Malaysia. I forget exactly now. Leeds United in Malaysia or something weird like that. That's going to make us about 9 million. That's just, Jesus, like giving up on the season or the league season is very expensive. And so we are betting everything on red in the casino, and it just better not come up black. Or Spurs, whatever.
Yeah, they're a shower. I mean, we know this. We know this, but we also know that they are capable of playing well because we've seen it.
No game in midweek, Daniel, to
but
preview. It's a mercy, that is.
Back to the last midweek, still, the way that they started that game.
So bad. It's that
makes you feel no confidence whatsoever that they're going to go to Bilbao and turn up from the first minute.
No, none
and
at all.
Tottenham, whatever else they do, I don't think they'll be passive. There's a good chance they'll make mistakes, but I don't think they'll let the game unfold. For those Tottenham players, this is the biggest game most of them have ever played, and it's probably some of them will ever play in. They won't. I don't think, in the way that Postecoglou sends his teams out, they're not going to. I don't think they're just going to sit there.
Someone should do an AI mock-up of Spurs lifting that James Maddison and a bunch of the other cunts lifting that trophy and show it to the players and go, you want that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Maddison's out for the season, so at least we'll be spared.
At least it won't be him.
At least we'll be spared. Dan Kulusevski got injured today as well.
Yeah, that would be good. Although he's had a pretty shitty second half of the season, I'd say. He'd really gone off the ball, and Son is nowhere near. He's been injured.
Son's injured as well.
Son's injured as well. Richarlison's just been back recently.
He's out for the season.
Is he out as well? I didn't realise. Yeah. Wow. We'd have two teams that barely anyone's fit. Touch wood, Yoro is fit because he left the stadium hobbling, but not in a protected boot. You would hope that's just a bruise on the foot rather than a broken metatarsal. He would definitely be in a boot with that. Same foot though. Yeah, Xerxes out for sure. Who else is definitely missing? There's quite a few. Delict, we're thinking. We're not sure about that one.
Is, but I mean, yeah. I don't. Because he's one of those where do I want him to be available? Don't know.
I mean, if it was one of those games where you knew you'd be sitting really deep and box defending, you'd say yes, this won't be that.
But he won't be playing anyway. Like Maguire has just about that position. I mean, he did obviously try to fuck us up in midweek.
He did his very best.
So that was some more classic Harrens midweek. But I mean, it won't be De Ligt. It'll be Maguire. It'll only be De Ligt if Jore's injured. I would imagine maybe De Ligt will play on the right or something.
Can we talk about Rasmus, who has just stunk the place out again today? We haven't got any choice, right? He's got to play. I'd be really tempted not to play him in the final and to play someone else through the middle as a false niner. I don't know.
But it's only...
It can't be Bruno. It can't be Bruno because he needs to be the creative fulcrum.
So then it would be Mount or Ahmad, right?
Mount, Ahmad or Garnacho. And I mean, Garnacho's running would be good. He can't finish, which is...
But he needs to be able to hold it up.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. I don't see it. I don't see how it could work.
It's like playing with 10 men though. It's just that bad. I mean, he obviously can't finish. Missed 2 big chances today. That's about 1.5 XG's worth of chances he missed today. He scored the one in midweek. 0.77 XG. It's almost impossible to get a higher percentage chance than that. And he still did his best to try and miss that. Pass it back to the keeper. The keeper managed to dive over it because
we've had a few moments now, haven't we? We've had that goal. We've had the one against Leicester. He plays well in the Lyon games. Lyon, where you're suddenly like, this will be the thing that fires him. You just need one to go in off your cunt, and then you'll be away. And obviously,
he'll never make
this is not happening.
It'll never happen. Yeah. I mean, the one against Leicester, he miscontrolled it twice. It's like fortunate he's getting Leicester. Oh, dear. I'm not old enough to remember the relegation season, so I wasn't alive. I'm not sure it was this bad in, 1989. Was it?
Well, I guess in 1989, we had Robson and Hughes. So there is that, just 2 players that we knew were brilliant. But if you look at some of the other players we had around then, like Mal Dolegui.
Oh, God. Yeah.
They're one that sprints to just some absolutely latent in that. Just some absolutely terrible fuckers.
Yeah, but they had the excuse of going out drinking 4 nights a week. So turning up for training at the Cliff, still steaming.
Yeah, but I mean, that was that. They weren't good in '89, but I mean, in the end, like these dickheads have got to the European final. You can't pretend that they haven't, and they've done it not exactly in style, but in some kind of memorable fashion, and undefeated.
Amazing. And what Wilderness Years United's it would be, what a narrative it will be to lose our first game in the tournament to Spurs. Or maybe even worse, we'll go undefeated because it'll be 0-0 all the way through.
No,
and we'll lose on penalties. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll still be undefeated. Be a pub quiz in 20 years' time. Oh, dear. All right. Well, we were dreadful today. It's all dreadful. It's all on the Europa League final. We have Chelsea next weekend. What's he going to do in that one? Friday night, yeah. Because he can't play the full team with the final coming up on the Wednesday. So, and yet, like, who needs a few minutes and who does he need to protect? I mean, Bruno played the whole game today. Again, he can't play on Thursday. Well, Friday.
No. Like Bruno, doesn't even travel. Like no. You can't. Like, what happens if he gets car sick? I mean, literally, you can't have a situation where you don't have him. Yeah, I wouldn't take him to that one. I mean, then you've got someone like Ahmad. Like, Ahmad needs a game.
Ahmad needs a game. Mount needs a game. Shaw needs a game, but it's just like, Shaw, too many minutes.
Are you sending Casemiro into the final not having played for 2 weeks?
Could get half an hour.
But yeah, I mean,
it's an interesting
imagine how dreadful this Villa game will be if we kept League to Tottenham. Oh my goodness me!
It's a good job it's away from home, I tell you.
Oh, okay.
So
we played Villa away. We played Villa away the last game of the season in 2000. Do you remember? Were you there? And Joe Ross, he's got a trophy in his cabinet.
I think that was 2000. We lost the last 3 games of the season, right? Or was that 2001?
No, that's 01.
That's 01.
That's 01. I remember we lost at the Dell. West Brown scores a diving header own goal.
Yeah. No, that was a.
But no, 2000 they win. They go on a long winning run and win all the games at the end. Sheringham scores. They win 1-0 at Villa. It was a great away end that day, actually. But
I've always enjoyed Villa Park as an away end.
Oh, it's a proper football ground, Villa Park. Yeah. One of the best, and the whole end is one of the best ends in football, I would say, in terms of size and scope and just mass. I mean, it's not great, in terms of noise really, but in terms of just like an actual structure of where to put people, I really like the whole end. But
yeah,
but that could be like devastating. You just thought it really could.
All right, on that wonderful note, I think we'll call it a day. At some point this week, we'll do a tactical preview with Darnish. I think I've got a few other things planned, just looking ahead to the Spurs game. God, love of God, please win that game. I'm not a religious man, but I'll pick anyone. Just give me your offers, guys. I'll do it.
What do you want? You want our goals to praise?
Yeah.
We got Yala. He's a big lad.
Yeah. I'll have a few. Just got to spread my options here, hedge my bets. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this dreadful 44 minutes of content.
What's the opposite of content?
I don't know. Non-content, a vacuum, what the internet should be. Just blow it all up.
A vacuum.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye now.
Sure.